When you're having that second thought, that question like, can I do this? Maybe I should just give up because it sure gets lonely. That is when you then decide what is that self-care strategy that you're going to use when you hit those mountains, when you hit rock bottom and you're feeling so lonely and isolated. How do you get out of that situation?
Hello, and welcome to Building Leadership Community Podcast. I'm your host, Dora Mendez. I am the founder and CEO of Coach Dora LLC. Our guests will be entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community leaders that drive social impact. It can be lonely at the top, but it doesn't have to be. Hello, and welcome to Building Leadership Community Podcast. I'm your host, Dora Mendez. Thank you to all our listeners and viewers. And if you're new to our show, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. This show is all about supporting you on your inclusive leadership journey. It can be lonely at the top, but it doesn't have to be. Today's guest is someone who I truly admire, an amazing trailblazer. Before we get into the episode, check this out. We have some powerful resources to share with you today to transform your leadership by learning how to coach. Coaching is something that most people think is really exclusive. It's something that's just for executives. But really, we believe that it's something that should be accessible to everyone. So we designed a course. If you've been feeling pressure of expensive leadership programs, courses that can run close to $1,000 per credit, you're not alone. I hear from so many professionals who want to grow, lead with confidence, and make an impact, but the price tag and time commitment make it feel out of reach. We believe that coaching should be accessible. That's exactly why I created Transform Your Leadership, an exclusive growth mindset coaching course designed to give you true leadership breakthroughs without the hefty price tag. For only $97, you'll get to receive access to a program that delivers real transformation. In as little as 5 hours, a self-paced video course, you'll get traditional leadership program information, a workbook, and a handy AI prompt sheet. And at the end, you'll get a certificate of completion so you can show off your professional development and your accomplishments. So this normally takes weeks, and we intentionally build a practical, efficient, and deeply impactful course inside the experience. So you'll get these tools and framework in our coaching program that will help you lead with clarity, communicate with confidence, and step into your next level of influence without sacrificing your time or your budget. If you're ready to become the leader people trust and follow, this is your moment. The link is in the description. You can get it on our website in our courses tab, CoachDoraMendez.com. Leadership transformation is right there for you. Dr. Eunice, as I call her, practices what she preaches and just uplifts everyone with her charisma and grace. I had to invite her to our show to share her words of wisdom. I'm overwhelmed with admiration and respect for her as a trailblazer, as a leader in the DEI space, a best-selling author of The Power of Your Identity. She's so generous with her time. So without further ado, here's our conversation. Welcome, Dr. Eunice. I am so glad that you've joined us at the Building Leadership Community Podcast. I want to share with our listeners and our viewers how we met. We met in community at the Speaking for Profit University. We're part of a cohort, and we met in person for the first time this past June in Atlanta, which was really amazing. So thank you for being here. And I'm going to just share a brief introduction before I pass the proverbial virtual mic to you. so that we can hear from you. So, Dr. Eunice is the founder and CEO of Eunity Solutions and a distinguished DEI&B strategist, educator, and award-winning best-selling author dedicated to transforming workplace cultures through the power of inclusion. With over 25 years of experience as a registered nurse, her doctorate is in nursing education, many more accomplishments and accolades, too numerous to share here. I'm just really excited for Dr. Hughes to speak to you all directly. And I'm looking forward to this conversation because I always learn so much from you. Welcome, Dr. Eunice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Dora. It's a pleasure to be here on your platform, and I am looking forward to this conversation. Thank you for having me.
So I would love to hear from you about your leadership journey. Tell us a bit about that.
That's a great question. It has been quite a humbling journey, and I am glad that you asked that question. So, my journey in leadership began very early on at the age of 21. As you all may not know, I am an immigrant from Cameroon in Central West Africa. And I grew up wanting to be a teacher like my father, but somehow I refused to learn another language because I saw that as someone else's responsibility. And because of that, I flunked out of college. That failure would take me around the world through Canada and then to the United States. Failure, we often think that failure is the end of life, right? But what that failure did for me in the beginning is that it taught me about being culturally responsive. My parents gave me a second chance in life and sent me to Canada. While in Canada, I was so focused on not failing at any other opportunity. If you have ever been given a chance in life, you would not want to fail at anything. And that's exactly what I did. So I aced through a dental therapy program in Canada, but I was missing out on something: the value of community, the value of embracing my Canadian brothers and sisters and learning about their values and beliefs. And I ended up living disheartened for the United States, the Washington, D.C. area to be specific, because I thought I would like it there and I would see people that look like me. But when I got to that area, I realized I was looking for a place to call home. And I would eventually make that home in Delaware. And while I got to Delaware, I was met with a transformation where my cultural responsiveness again, or cultural awareness, was again tested because someone looked at me and told me I could not apply for a job because of my heavy accent, because I was a woman, and because I was an immigrant, as though these characteristics defined my identity and as though they were predeterminants to a job opportunity. So, with all of these and all the accolades, as Coach Dora had mentioned, and the experiences, this instilled in me a deep understanding of what diversity and the importance of inclusion really is. And with all the degrees I have obtained and the certifications in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, I have dedicated my career to helping organizations build inclusive cultures. That has been my leadership story, and that has been my career path.
Dr. Eunice, you showed that person, you showed them. When they said you couldn't do it, you showed them. And so I just really admire all that you've done. And I'd love to hear your perspective on how community and building community has helped you because it can be lonely at the top. You work so hard to build your own business, but sometimes being the CEO can be lonely, can be isolating. So share with us a bit about how you build community and get support while in your business.
Absolutely. That is an amazing question because, often people sit on the other side of the fence and they look at the success, but they don't know what lies behind that success, right? So, as a leader, we often are faced with so many challenges, particularly the challenge of isolation and loneliness. It is very crucial as a leader to remember that community plays a vital role. in your leadership journey. Being a part of a supportive community, not just a community that's going to support you. Coach Dora, you know this, that there are going to be communities that will try to drag you down. There will be communities that are like minded, like you and myself. There are going to be communities that are watching for you to fail, right? But you want that community that is going to support you, come what may. So that is who you want. It's not just only to provide a sense of belonging, but also to offer you that valuable perspective and those shared experiences that can guide and inspire you when those lonely moments, those periods when you're just feeling like, where do I go from here? When you're having that second thought, that question like, can I do this? Maybe I should just give up because it sure gets lonely. But with that, that is when you then decide what is that self care strategy that you're going to use when you hit those mountains or what I call the deep valley sometimes, where you hit rock bottom and you're feeling so lonely and isolated, when you have no answers, when everybody else is looking at you. How do you get out of that situation? That is where your self-care strategies come in place. I personally have used throughout my career what I call Dr. G's 5P mindset strategy. And these are my 5Ps: my purpose, my passion, my patience, my persistence, and my perseverance. When I am struggling, when I am faced with challenges, if nothing else outside of my community, I fall back on these 5Ps. And they have helped me through my career trajectory very tremendously. However, there are other wellness tips that you can use as a leader to maneuver through these challenges. And what are some of those things that you can do? Building a support network, surrounding yourself with trusted colleagues, with mentors, with peers who can offer you guidance and support. Not people that would want to tear you down, not people that would tell you, don't do that, you cannot do it, but people who would give you hope. And the word hope, I say helping others prosper everywhere.
I love that. I love that the 5Ps and helping others prosper elsewhere. I love that. I've never heard that
Yes.
acronym the way you have just articulated hope in a way that means community.
Yes. Yes. And the other thing is you have to prioritize that self care. We often think that self care is being greedy, is being selfish, when in fact it is not. Take time for you so you can have that work life balance, so you can fill your cup of love until it's overflowing, so you can continue to give, not from an empty cup, but from a full cup, because you cannot give from an empty cup or else you would burn out. That is why I developed my workshop called Blossom or Burnout, the $1,000,000 choice for your well-being. Because we all need that pampering. We all need to take care of us so we can continue taking care of our communities and be open to learning, because the mind never gets tired. Embrace those opportunities to expand your knowledge and skills so you can share with others. Don't be afraid to share. People say women cannot share. Look at you and I, Coach Dora. We just met, but we're willing to share and support each other. And that is how we build communities. That is how, when you educate a woman, you educate the world. That is how you and I will continue to educate our communities, educate our girls so that tomorrow they can continue impacting the world. That is how
Top,
should be.
back to Eunice, I want to I'm just reflecting on something you just said that we had talked about putting the mask on first.
Yes,
You know, when you're on the plane, you put the mask on first so that if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. And
absolutely.
so I really appreciate your insight on that. And that leads us right into the next conversation prompt, which is what's like the one, I know it's hard because you've been doing this a long time, but if there's like one really amazing piece of advice that you could get, that you could give the next generation of leaders, or maybe something that you would have, told yourself early on in your career, what's that one great piece of advice about leadership and community that you'd like to share?
There are so many things that I can share. However, because you just want one, and for the sake of time, embracing your authenticity, and that includes embracing your identity. Your authenticity goes hand in hand with your identity and being proud of who you are, because you do not have any other person that is like you. Your values and your beliefs are very unique. And Coach Dora has heard me say this. You, your audience listening, you are a culture add and not a culture fit. So what you bring to the table, only you has what you bring to the have what you bring to the table. So when you walk into that room, into that community, know that you are a voice like no other voice on that table or in that room or in that community. So come with your full authentic self, regardless of anything else that is being said around there, and be willing to contribute wholeheartedly and be proud of what you have to offer so that you're part of that innovation, that creativity, and that community and that decision making that will be happening. Because you could just be that one voice that someone is on the edge waiting to hear, for you to empower them, to inspire them, or maybe make that one breakthrough for them. So just be your authentic self and be proud of your identity and who you are.
There you have it, Dr. Eunice. One nugget of wisdom, and why we invited you to join us is so aligned with our philosophy.
And remember that your journey is unique, and embrace it with courage, curiosity, and compassion. The world needs your leadership, your voice, and your vision. Thank you so much, Coach Dora.
Oh, thank you. That is a perfect way to end. And before we depart, I want to remind our listeners and viewers to like, share, and subscribe at CoachDoraMendez.com. Dr. Eunice, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Eunice, thank you so much for being here. I know how much you have to say has really helped so many people and so many workplaces. And so, can you share with our listeners and viewers how they can continue getting some of your wisdom, and how to get your book?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that opportunity, Coach Dora. Definitely, you can follow me on all social media platforms, on Facebook at Eunity Solutions, on Instagram at eunity.solutions, on LinkedIn as Dr. Eunice Gwanmesia, and also Eunity Solutions, LLC, and on my website at www.eunitysolutions.com. And you can actually obtain my copies of my books right directly off of our website.
Oh, that's fantastic. You got it here at eunitysolutions.com. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, Dr. Eunice.
You do the same, Coach Dora.
You've been listening to Building Leadership Community. Watch on YouTube at Coach Dora M. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube at Coach Dora M. Visit me on the web at CoachDoraMendez.com. Hosted by me, Dora Mendez. Produced by Dora Mendez and Dylan Rogers. Graphics, editing, and sound mixing by Dylan Rogers.